How much money does it cost to start up a pallet recycling business done the simplest business method? Today, we're specifically going to talk about just moving pallets on a local area, in your local area from point A to point B, right? We're not talking about brokering where no truck is involved or anything like that, and there's passive income. We're talking about moving pallets from point A to point B. How much money am I going to need to start this kind of business up to get going? So let's talk about the obvious first. Let's say you don't own a truck, okay? Let's go into that scenario. You don't own a truck and you want to move pallets one day a week out of the gate, meaning we're not having to rent a truck every day of the week. We're going to rent a truck one day, like on a Tuesday afternoon, and move a bunch of several loads of pallets. So a truck rental normally is going to run anywhere from 125 to 150 bucks. So let's just do average $140 daily truck rental, 18-foot long, carry about 200 pallets. Okay. Now, the next item on the list is a invoice book. Now, there's other ways of doing this, of course, QuickBooks and all that, but let's just keep it simple. Invoice book, $5 at Staples, right? And we'll give a running total here on the screen. The next is may not even possibly be an expense, because when you rent a truck, a lot of times they'll have 4-inch straps built into the truck that you crank down, and they have a mechanism there to be able to crank them down, and they're built into the onto the flatbed of the truck. Okay, so you may not even need the next two items, which would be 2 to 4 2-inch straps that are 24-foot long, and also 2 cranks that would crank those straps down once you throw them over the stacks of pallets. So those items as a set around 15 bucks, right? You get them for around 15 bucks at Walmart even. So then you have, every once in a while, when the forklift driver is loading pallets and you have one pallet in front of a stack of a 20. Sometimes I'm lifting a pallet and moving it 3 feet over to the right to just speed up the process, but I want to have work gloves on. I've gotten splinters before in my hands. I don't want them. So I have a pair of work gloves that's going to cost you about $5. And now, listen, I am not into repairing pallets. I don't get pallets to repair. But if I have a $10 pallet and I have one board popped up and partially popped up, and I can hit it with a hammer and knock it down and save that pallet and save me, make me $10 in about 12 seconds, I'm going to have a hammer in my truck, and even a nail in case it's missing a nail on that slat. So I don't mind fixing little quick and easy pallets here and there, but I am not in the pallet building or fixing game. So on any given week, I have about 7 to 8 minutes of total repair time on any pallets, which make me quite a bit of money by, saving the pallet with a popped up board or something like that. Okay. So that's about a $10 expense. Box of nails, just in case you needed an extra nail on a slat and you want to hammer one down. That's another $10. Okay. Then we have gas in the truck. Now, usually when you rent a truck, it's going to have gas in it, but you're going to possibly use $5 to $10. We're not going extraordinary lengths of across from one city to another. A lot of times we're working in a 1 mile or 5 mile radius from pickup to delivery once you learn this in the training. So I put it down as a $10 expense. So if you add up all the items that I just mentioned, including the rental, you're at about 195 bucks to start this business out of the gate, meaning day one. Now you're going to be able to reuse the hammer and the straps and the invoice book. So moving forward on your next delivery, like next week, when you line up all your deliveries, you would just have about $140 expense per week for a rental of a truck. So let's give a scenario to say, well, 140 bucks a week, that sounds like a lot of money. But if we're moving 2 loads of 150 pallets, so that's 300 pallets total, getting them for free, selling for $8 a piece, that's going to put us in the $2,400 gross. And then we're going to back out the 140 out of it. We're going to back out that gas and those straps and that invoice book and all these other items and the hammer and the gloves. So our net would be minus 195 from 2,400, which is $2,205 net for that type of a weekly rental when we're just trying to knock out all our deliveries in one day, because we don't want to rent a truck on a daily basis. So let's keep our expenses low in the beginning. We can expand our business and end up getting our own truck, of course, which would simplify the process. And we can get a used older beater flatbed anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 once you make some money in the game and cut away that expense. Or go into brokering, you don't need a truck. But like I said, I didn't want to discuss brokering on here. So we're at about $195 out of the gate with the truck rental operating this business. We're not paying for pallets. We're getting 95% of them for free anyway. So we'll start out with free pallets that the way I train you in the training. So we don't have that expense either. And even if we did, we could, 5x our money or 6x our money. So let's talk about that type of expense. What other kind of business? Let's say you had a landscaping business. Well, problem with the landscaping, you have to have mowers, or you have to have riding mowers and weed eaters and blowers and all these other expenses. So as a comparison, $195 to start up a business on day one and keeping it simple is an important way to go about a new side hustle, a new business, where you're not going to take all this huge chunk of money out of your bank account and try to invest it into like a restaurant or a Pizza Hut or something like that. We have franchise fees. This is a simple business. And since we're not needing the storage, we're not needing employees, right? We don't have that overhead as far as that's concerned. The forklift drivers at the suppliers are loading our trucks on. So it's a matter of just moving and transporting the stuff from point A to point B. And what's the items needed? Well, we just listed that. And I hope that gives you some clarity on what the threshold is to get going, about $195. Of course, get trained in the simplestbiz.com. Go there for more information, simplestbiz.com. And we have the 2.0 training available for you folks, for folks that are wanting to learn how to do this business and set these deals and accounts up and learn everything about the aspects of this business and be in the private Facebook group. So that's available to you if you want to truly learn how to do this the simplest biz way, so to speak. My name is John Wilker. I've taught thousands of people in multitudes of countries this business model. I'm looking forward to helping you. If it piques your interest, keep on doing your due diligence. Go to thesimplestbiz.com. I have interviews with students and ways for you to get some emails about how this business model works. If you want to book a call and talk to us, we have that option as well. Thesimplestbiz.com. Glad I covered this topic. Hope it gave you some clarity. Talk to you soon.